5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is Deducter bringing you set 2 of Flash versus Jangbi in the OSL round of 8. This is going to be on the map Pathfinder, and again, another epic matchup. The fans cheering like crazy in the background. They just refuse to stop, and it's taking forever for them to actually, accept for some reason in this OSL round of 8. Fans still going crazy there in the background. Flash taking an early lead, winning in Game 1 fairly handedly, despite the fact that Jangbi played well. Flash with a great timing attack, catching Jangbi off guard. The fangirls cheering even more intensely there for Jangbi. And Flash with great timing attack again, winning Game 1. Jangbi, though, should have a chance to try to redeem himself on the map Pathfinder here. Flash was fiddling with his ruler. And there are some cheers for Flash, but significantly fewer rather than those for Jangbi. And Jangbi sending out a probe to scout around there, I don't think is up to anything sneaky. It's just to scout. There's a picture of Flash. That does not... What, was that Flash? Because it didn't really look like either player. I assume that was a picture of Flash. But it didn't really look like him. A for effort there. And we have more signs I cannot read. Those guys aren't really hiding their face. Oh, okay, now they were. Well, at least the guy on the right, he was. But not the guy on the left. Regardless, Jangbi has scouted one of the positions, but he will know where Flash is soon enough. And here we see JinAir, of course, the sponsor. I cannot figure out what that is supposed to be. Is that a celebrity? Or maybe there's just cat girls because that's a pretty hot girl. I imagine that's probably not what it is, though. I rarely hear that sort of thing. It looked like some sort of celebrity. I always think these are probably some sort of celebrities or someone somewhat famous that they're showing. Seems odd to me that a casual fan would come wearing a dress. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe that's how seriously some of these fans take these matches. Who knows? And here we have both players performing a fairly standard opening. Jangbi just going to harass Flash somewhat. This map is fairly even in Protoss versus Terran, since there are not that many games that have been played on this map, fewer than 10. So I can't really say, map statistics favor one player or the other. I think with so few games played, it doesn't really matter. Unless it's like all 10 for Protoss or something like that, which is more like I believe Protoss won 6 and Terran won 4, something like that. Regardless, more or less even. And here we see, Jangbi managing to finish off an SEV there. Nice work by Jangbi. Flash, uncharacteristically sloppy, I have to say, losing a SEV early like that. Jangbi playing very well. I guess this map, Pathfinder does actually have the unique opportunity for Protoss to do this, since their scouting probe can pass through the blockade, and furthermore, the map distances are pretty short, so this opens the Protoss for more of an opportunity to do damage with their scouting unit, which is something that Jangbi has exploited nicely here. Let's see whether Jangbi can press his advantage. I mean, that little advantage there may be enough to get Jangbi a bit of an early lead. Still, he's going to need that and more if he wants to defeat Flash. Flash microwave his SEV to behind the mineral patch there, trying to spite Jangbi a little bit. That is his revenge, but the SEV is going to get chased out by that Dragoon. And these Marines chasing out the scouting probe. I do not believe the probe saw the command center go down, but I doubt Jangbi was fooled by Flash here, despite Flash putting down the command center a bit later. Flash still with the SCV alive, though. That Dragoon not having any luck, and Flash is going to see that robotics facility, I think, without much of an issue. He is not going to be able to see whether it's observatory or a robotic support bay comes out. Robotic support bay first actually is quite a possibility on this map, considering the short map distances. So Jangbi may opt to go for a strategy, a fast rush strategy, which could work out quite well. Flash, of course, has gone for the factory into expansion build, a very safe build. Overall, and on this map, almost, I think, necessity, considering the short distances, Protoss can put on quite a bit of pressure. I wouldn't say it's an absolute necessity, rather. I think going 14 command centers or something like that is pretty much suicidal on this map. You know, this barracks into command center shouldn't be much of a problem for a skilled Terran player to defend against. You just want to be careful of Stork-esque attacks. Stork is infamous for sending his Dragoons in to snipe the first tank of a Terran player. He loves doing that, and it works out so well on so many occasions. Jangbi perhaps has absorbed some of that power, but Jangbi is going to be forced to back off here. Not too much he can do against a Terran player with 2 tanks out already, except respond by putting down his own command center. I mean, his own Nexus, rather. And we still don't know what Jangbi put down first, the observatory or the bay, but it turns out he's put down the observatory, the safer move. I was actually hoping that Jangbi would put down the bay and let us have a bit of action here, but it may not have worked out very well, considering Flash has gone factory first. I still think it would be the better way to go, though. Try to do what damage he can to Flash. And Jangbi's probe getting stuck on the transition there. Oh, disaster for Jangbi. These precious seconds there not going to help out his economy, I have to say. Jangbi putting down a second expansion immediately. Flash patrolling units around. He is clearly worried about the drop, as I think he rightly should be. Drop is highly probable on this map. Perhaps this is going to work out quite well for Jangbi. After all, not going for the drop. He's got the resources to put down that extra expansion. And Flash, you know, he really does have to guard against that possibility. So perhaps this has worked out better for Jangbi than I had thought. Such is the high-level play between these two titans of the field here. Titans of StarCraft, rather, taking to the field. Titans of the field doesn't really make any sense. Here we have a Flash putting down a second machine shop there for his second factory. He's going to be able to build a substantial mech force soon, but Jangbi's not going to mind. Flash cannot yet push out. When Flash actually masses up some vultures to launch his initial attack, I think Jangbi should be able to defend all 3 of his bases quite comfortably. So this has been more or less of a stalemate thus far, and will likely be more or less of a stalemate for some time. And Jangbi, again, his transfer probes getting stuck there. Unfortunately, due to the way he positioned those gateways and the pylon on Jangbi not noticing, unfortunately for him, is actually gonna hurt him quite a bit here. His economy having been disrupted for some time, and Jangbi is not gonna like that at all. Now he's putting down his Citadel, and this may be just a sort of tiny advantage that Flash can exploit. Flash putting down another command center here. He is playing it very safe here. So it turns out this will be one of these larger, these longer macro games, and we shall see how Jangbi's macro skills stack up to Flash in this game. Hopefully Jangbi does not transition to carriers again. I think Jangbi should stick to his strength. High Templar. Truly, those are devastating units in the hands of Protoss players, but especially in the hands of Jangbi. And Jangbi putting down his 1 Stargate, and Templar Archives, he's going for Arbiters, a much better maneuver here. So that should work out well for him, I hope. What Jangbi needs to do is, like in last game, try to catch Flash out of position and storm all over his tanks. Flash does have a tendency to position his troops somewhat poorly at times. He's always great at knowing how many units to send where to do the attack. What he's not always good at is, once he sent the troops, he's not too good at managing them in such a way that they're in the best possible tactical position. And Flash often has some issues there. Flash scanning and killing that observer. How did he know the observer was there specifically? That is kind of creepy, really, his game sense. So that's the thing about Flash. He's great at defense. He knows exactly how many units to send where for what attack and when, but there are weaknesses in his play, especially sometimes when he maneuvers his units. They're not in an orderly fashion, and a skilled player, a cunning player, can exploit those opportunities and defeat Flash. Jaedong, I think, is the best at that, and these days there's a new guy, Baxter, who I liken to Savior. He's 3-0 in his OSL Round 16 group. Amazing stuff from the rookie. His play recently has been most reminiscent, I have to say, of Savior's old style. And perhaps, just perhaps, if Baxter advances to semifinals, I'm not sure who would go up against who, but if Baxter plays Flash, that will be one exciting matchup, I have to say. Flash, that's the thing about Flash. He's have to prove his versus Zerg skill over and over again, and Jangbi doing what he can to try to destroy his engineering bay, taking out Hydra and Zero, likes those players, and now another Zerg player challenging him. It's almost ridiculous how good his versus Zerg skill is. Almost a reverse of the situation Savior was in back then. Terrans were destroying Zerg left and right. These days, Zerg are destroying Terran left and right. Except for Flash, the only light in the darkness, if you would. And Flash licking his lips there. Perhaps they're a bit chapped. Should use some chapstick. But no time to apply it in the middle of the game, unfortunately for him. Flash massing up some forces here at the front. He not yet able to push out. Flash on 3 bases, Jangbi on 4. Although one of Jangbi's base is mineral only, I still think that's good for Protoss to have. You can never have enough Zealots or Gateways in these long macro games against Terrans. 20 gateways is not excessive when you're playing against Flash. Being able to rally wave after wave of Zealots. Look at that, just as I would say 20 gateways is not excessive. Jangbi putting down a lot more. He's probably up to 10 now. He has another 10 to go, really. Jangbi getting ready to put down another base here at the 4 o'clock. If he can take that and defend that successfully, he will have a great game-winning position here against Flash. Flash knows this. And I bet his plan is to try to gain position over that base at the 4 o'clock and slowly beat Jangbi down. As long as he controls that base, he will win. This is a 3-player map. Whoever controls the extra base obviously is going to have a resource advantage, which will carry them through as long as the game goes to the very late game when resources start to matter. For now, though, Flash still not quite confident of his strength, not going to push out. Jangbi needs to protect those High Templar with shuttles. I mean, last game Flash was so great with his EMPs. They truly were devastating and remarkably well aimed. Generally, Flash is great with the spells, but last game truly impressive. And Flash not yet with speed. Okay, there we see Vultures with speed upgraded. I was a little surprised there. Flash sending out a raiding party to do what he can. Jangbi would be wise there to be careful and try to better shield that base at the 10 o'clock, but no, Flash not going to send his Vultures there to raid. There's a pylon at the south, but I don't think there's any defenses in the north. Now Jangbi putting down more gateways there. He's going up to something like 15 now. He's still got a few more to put down before he can take on Flash. And both players marshaling their forces in the middle. Jangbi's army looking quite impressive here. I think if Flash tries to advance, he needs to stick to one of the walls to protect his flank. If he gets his army stuck in the middle there, it might be somewhat vulnerable if Jangbi sends a partial force circling all the way around the map to attack Flash from 2 angles. We shall see, though. Protoss are so fond of attacking head-on in most instances. I doubt Jangbi is going to do something quite like that. Perhaps to his disadvantage. We shall see, though. If Flash protects his forces with one of the walls, I think his army will be extraordinarily difficult to dislodge. If Flash marches all his forces in the middle and clumps his tanks up, he may be in some trouble, but hold that thought. Massive recall here coming in by Jangbi. The Arbiter goes down almost instantaneously, but Jangbi has recalled a good-sized force into Flash's base. He's going to be able to cause great havoc. Flash sending some forces to deal with this, but not as quickly as I imagined he could. Jangbi killing a lot of turrets there, and perhaps picking off the odd tank or two, but not really causing any damage. He may yet be able to kill a few supply depots, but this recall has more or less failed. At best, it's merely distracted Flash somewhat and killed some turrets. But, this I don't think was an attack that was worthwhile at all. He failed to inflict any economic damage. And Flash is not the type of player to be distracted by a little recall like that. Okay, now Jangbi's up to around 20 gateways. He's going to get that full economy pumping. The one good thing is that Jangbi is now up to 5 bases, and he could get a 6th base up soon enough. Actually, he's got he's got that Nexus already built, and Flash is still stuck on 3. Perhaps Flash being a bit passive here, overestimating the amount of time he has to get this done. I think Flash realizes that he needs to get something done. He's going to move his forces out. This is the golden opportunity for Jangbi. So often, when Flash makes a little maneuver like this, in haste, he may be careless. And if Jangbi can take this battle, or at least seriously reduce Flash's tank count, he should be fine here. Jangbi looking calm. Flash here with his tanks, but not quite able to move out. He needs to move out sooner rather than later. The longer he allows Jangbi to mine from all 6 bases there, the worse his position will be. Jangbi going to put down yet another base, it looks like, at the 2 o'clock position. Flash knows this is his chance. He's got 3 science vessels. Jangbi, though, got a few Templar. I don't see any more Arbiters for some reason. I also don't know what is in that shuttle. Hopefully Templar, not Zealots. I don't think Zealot bombs are going to do anything against all those Goliaths. And now, massive attack here. Jangbi cleverly sending only 1 Zealot there. But hold that thought. Massive battle here in the middle. Flash has got all his forces stuck in the middle. But there are so many Terran mech units. Storm! Stasis! All sorts of craziness going on. The science vessels all getting taken down. This is what I mean. Flash getting his army completely destroyed. Jangbi with his psionic storms. Doing great work here. This is exactly what Jangbi needed to do. He may have lost this battle, but he's got 20 gateways. Flash's tank count is seriously diminished. Plus he's got stasis units. Flash, though, knows he has to push up. He's sending everything he has left, his seriously injured forces, to Jangbi's natural. He wants to try to stem Jangbi's forces there. But more storms devastating Flash's tank columns. He's only got perhaps a dozen tanks left. Almost no screening units. Jangbi has almost nothing left either. But he's got the 20 gateways. He can build Zealots. Without an issue. Flash down to the 1 science vessel. Great stasis there. Flash desperately rallying what reinforcements he can. He's gonna try to get position over the natural, but I fear Flash is not gonna have enough units to get this done. And Jangbi looks like it's gonna take game 2. I mean, perhaps this is premature for me to call the game. Already Flash is sieging up outside Jangbi's natural, but I don't think he's got enough to deal with this. We shall see, though. Perhaps Flash can still get this done. Even if he's taken out the natural, I don't think Jangbi's going to mind that too much. He's got enough bases to carry on the fight. Where's Flash? But Jangbi coming for a massive attack here, and Flash does not look like he has enough units to deal with this. Most of the siege tanks are done. Zealots all over these tanks, and Flash desperately rallying additional reinforcements in front. It looks like he may yet be able to take this battle, but at what cost? No, he's actually got more tanks than I thought. Now the tanks have come out of stasis, and Jangbi rattling all sorts of Zealots. He needs some Templar mix in here if he has some more storms. Now Jangbi sending the Zealots, but almost piecemeal here. They are not as effective as he probably hopes, but Jangbi does not care. He has too many units. Flash, somehow with the presence of mind to detach more units. Massively successful defense matrix there. Buying Flash time for reinforcements to come in and save him. This battle absolutely intense here at the front. Flash with the presence of mind to detach tanks to attack that base in a 10 o'clock position. This is StarCraft at the highest level, and it is perhaps impossible to be able to win. I fear though Jangbi's economic advantage is too much, and he will eventually beat Flash just by grinding him down. Jangbi clearing up those tanks, trying to siege his base at the 10 o'clock, and Flash is in full retreat here. His forces have been driven out. The siege has been broken, and I fear Flash will never be able to mass up the same force he did. Jangbi is going to take game 2. It looks like it is only a matter of time. Unless Flash, the only way Flash could possibly win this game is if he holds on to his 1/3 of the map and defends like a fiend against the remainder of the resources on the map. But I don't think even Flash is going to be capable of doing so. Jangbi is up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mining bases to Flash's 3. I'm sure both players' mains are mined out there, and Flash cannot possibly win if a 2-to-1 resource advantage that Jangbi possesses here. I don't see how it would be possible with that siege cleared up. Flash did have the presence of mind to send some vultures there to raid the base at the 2 o'clock, but there weren't that many probes there, and I'm not sure whether Flash actually has enough units to be able to kill the Nexus per se. He is going to try his best though, and the vultures may yet be able to get it done, but yes, the vultures are going to be able to get it done, but the victory is short-lived. I don't think Jangbi is going to have any problem re-establishing that base. Flash has sent some units there along the right edge, the eastern edge, if you would, of the map. This is actually very favorable terrain for Terran players, since all their units are ranged there. But Jangbi just has such overwhelming weight of numbers that Flash is going to be forced to pull back. Now, Jangbi coming in for attack at 2 angles, a small force down the middle, and his massive army coming in from the right there. Flash's army may be caught between these two forces and destroyed. Flash is going to have to defend like crazy if he wants to hold out here. He's forced to pull what units he can back. Great Storm all over Flash's units. Yet again, Jangbi has demonstrated again that his mastery of Storm is astonishing. Certainly, I'm not sure any other Protoss player quite rivals his skill with Templar and Psionic Storm. And now Jangbi pressing the attack. Flash's army puny by comparison against the overwhelming onslaught of the Protoss forces, and the Terran cowering in their metal shells there. These tanks offer no protection at all for their crews because the Protoss warriors just refuse to stop coming. So many forces pouring, stasis, the Storm all over his forces. Flash is defeated here. Surely we'll see a GG coming out here from Flash soon, and Jangbi has taken game 2. Fantastic game. I would say absolutely brilliant performance. This is merely a formality now. Jangbi storming all over Flash's SEVs at the 6 o'clock. Whatever hopes Flash had of making a last stand. Wow, he still has a hope of making a last stand, but whatever hopes Flash had of perhaps holding out in this game were dashed there. He just cannot hold out against 20 gateways coming from Jangbi here. And Jangbi has truly played a masterful game. Is how you defeat Flash here, out macroing him by winning a critical battle. And I feel Flash perhaps would have been wiser either to move out earlier or to clump his tanks more against one side of the wall there to protect one of his flanks. I guess it wouldn't have mattered in the end. GG coming from Flash. I don't think there was too much Flash could do in this game. Jangbi winning. Flash looking a bit frustrated almost. But, you know, this is absolutely exciting. We have to go on to game 3 here. Thank you for watching.
상대편 게이트가 쉽게 갖고 안 되면 나는 다 쉽게 돌려버리면 되는 거 아니에요. 상대편이 왜저는 10초만 하고 나는 5초만 돌려버리면 되는 겁니다. 이영호가 생각했던 것더 멀리 달아났었어요. 했거든요.
이렇게 되면 글라디에이터는 어떻게 보면 패스파인더보다 더 할 만한 요소가 많기 때문에
그렇죠.
만약에 허영무 선수가 똑같은 형태로 힙싸움 해보자라고 생각이